Hi there, welcome to my YouTube channel. This is Tina from tinaheals.com, and this video is a very special video because it's a personal exploration of what I have experienced as a 7th house Pisces moon on the 11th degree. So yes, my moon is on the 11th degree of Pisces, and this video deals with moon in Pisces and celluloid, the obsession with celluloid. So the ruler of Pisces is Neptune. And we know that Neptune deals with cinema, fantasy, anything that transports us into a parallel reality, that is Neptunian. Mysticism, spirituality, all of that is Neptune. So I have experienced a tremendous love for cinema since I was a child. And not just Hollywood flicks or Bollywood flicks, but world cinema. And I've actually worked as a screenwriter, and I've assisted some directors and been on the production team of some films and animation. But there has been a quest in my life of understanding cinema. 24 frames per second. And the illusion it creates, and the absolute beautiful mindscapes and landscapes of imagination that we can traverse through cinema. So if you have a Pisces moon, then you definitely have a love for cinema, films, movies, sitcoms, series on Netflix. So Neptune and Pisces brought us this continuous streaming. 2011, Neptune entered Pisces. So now we don't even have to wait for our favorite programs. Remember back in the days when we had to wait for Sex and the City to come on so we could rush back home and watch Sex and the City? All that is over. Now we finally got Netflix. And we can stream it and watch whatever we want, and we can stream on pretty much any device, laptop, tablet, mobile. Every device is streamable with some kind of video content or the other. So Neptune in Pisces is instrumental in bringing to us these fantasy worlds that are, that normally we don't create, we don't experience. So I have always had, as I said, an obsession for different kind of cinema. So whether you talk about Tarkovsky, Russian Tarkovsky, whether you talk about Ritvik Ghatak, Satyajit Ray, or whether you talk about Wes Anderson, whether you talk about Quentin Tarantino, Ingmar Bergman, Lars von Trier, all of that. And I've been watching these Sundance films and all the foreign films that I could get a hold of back in the days when I would escape my school and then college and go and watch all these films in a place called Nandan in Calcutta, which was streaming all kinds of cinema from all over the world. And honestly, it drove me crazy. I was barely 15, and I would go and watch masterpieces like Kieslowski, the Decalogue that I watched when I was barely 15, 16. And, I would wait right outside Nandan, and I would request the guard to let me go. And ultimately, he came to know me. And I would just get in without a ticket to very many films from all over the world. So there's always been this, and I've had a huge interest in cinema from other places, because when I watch it, I actually experience other countries, other cultures, and that's so beautiful. For instance, I just watched El Dragon in Netflix, Mexican. I watched Twice Upon a Time, French, a crazy love story of parallel dimensions, love and loss, and the beatitude of existence, honestly. So I like to get into experiencing these cultures through the cinema, through literature, through art of any sort. So there's always this fantasy element that my Pisces moon craves, and I've always been creating fantasies in my head, you know, stories and writing about them, and writing about fantastic things. Surrealism is really appealing to me. Okay, yes, surrealism of Dali, surrealism of Jacques Tati, the filmmaker, also the magic surrealism of Gabriel Garcia Marquez, and 100 Years of Solitude. So I have been immersing myself in these sort of fantasy literature, even Edgar Allan Poe and Lovecraft, all of that, of course. I was a complete Lovecraftian, right? So Scorpio, third house. Even think about the films of Stan Brakhage, you know, just abstractions and just crazy images flashing at you. The American avant-garde movement, Maya Deren, Kenneth Anger. And Kenneth Anger's films interested me especially because they were about magic rituals. So that really had me going, you know, because magic and cinema, two things, you bring them together. And his films were very baroque, very loud. But Maya Deren was more sensitive, and Stan Brakhage was just a master of abstraction. And we owe the way we shoot our film, our music videos, the way we shoot our commercials, and the quick cuts. We have a lot of things, a huge debt we owe to Stan Brakhage and Maya Deren and the American avant-garde system. Of course, they're all learning from the French New Wave of Godard, Truffaut, Francois Truffaut, Jean-Luc Godard, and all of those guys, right? So cinema of different countries and non-linear cinema. Even the film Memento, I remember. The way the narrative is completely disjointed. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Okay, stuff like that really excited me, films like that. Even the work of Philip K. Dick, the American novelist, writer, journalist, and all of that. So with him and his experiences, how he would write about something and that would happen. You won't believe it, it has happened to me. When I was screenwriting, I would write about something and it would happen to me in life, okay? Don't believe me, I can't help you. Certain things I would write about would happen in my own life. Not just people or experiences, but diseases that I would write about happened to me. Okay, and you may think it's crazy, but there was a point when I was writing about characters, I would interact with them. Not just in my dreaming state, but in my waking life. Okay, so it was a crazy scenario when I was working very intensely with my novels and my fiction work and my screenwriting. So yes, it got very intense. For instance, Philip K. Dick spoke about The Matrix in 1977. So imagine where our brain is in a vat and we're just experiencing a world of dreams. We are dreaming our existences into creation. Okay, so, and this book within a book, or a film within a film, what even Woody Allen used for Purple Rain, a film within a film, or a book within a book, is a very powerful mechanism to explore the subconscious if you have a Pisces moon. And because Pisces is about parallel dimensions. So you understand this. You understand how this happens because you can feel these dimensions. We hear less than 1% of the acoustic spectrum, see less than 1% of the electromagnetic spectrum. So what is really going on there, right? And think about these parallel worlds. They exist. Multiple worlds exist. They have to. Okay, The Man in the High Castle of Philip K. Dick is probably one of the best explorations of alternate realities. Read it if you haven't. And this exploration of these counterfeit worlds, okay, fake worlds, pseudo worlds, phony worlds, okay, surreal worlds, phantom worlds, deranged. Okay, a deranged private world inhabited by only one individual. Such worlds do exist. If you have a Pisces moon, that you know that these pseudo worlds exist. These sometimes they're semi-real. There is no distinction between reality and fiction, and they blend together. Semi-real worlds, surreal, mystical worlds, they exist. Okay, all these experiences I've had, and I know they are valid, they're real, they're my experiences, they're my feelings, right? So my imagination and the creation of fantasy in my mind and the way it reacted with the real world. Of course, my Pisces moon is opposed by my ascendant degree, it's my rising sign Virgo, Venus and Mars, and my south node, and my north node is in Virgo. My north node opposed by my north node, my south node is in Pisces on my moon. So this Pisces on your moon and Ketu on your moon and Pisces makes you even more aware of these pseudo worlds, these surreal worlds, these make-believe worlds, and you can move through time, because time really loses its grasp on your consciousness if you have a Pisces moon. Thereby you can understand the process of fiction, the process of film. Okay, so I got looking into Philip K. Dick's astrology, and he has a very strong Neptune in his chart. His Neptune is in the first degree of Virgo, opposing the house it rules, the sign it rules, Pisces. And it is involved in a grand trine, a kite formation, and is making 11 aspects in his natal chart. Okay, so very expansive psychic abilities have come to Philip K. Dick through this Neptune, this beautiful Piscean Neptunian energy. Okay, 11 aspects. Can you believe that? For instance, if Pisces is your first, and you have a moon and Pisces on the first house, then you tend to be totally into magic, the occult, secret worlds, very matriarchal in a way, and very dualistic about your mother. Could be very spiritual vibes, could also be very diabolical, dangerous vibes. Pisces must understand the soul karma of Pluto, because Pluto is the soul ruler of Pisces. So that's also something. So François Truffaut, one of the filmmakers of the French New Wave with Godard and Jacques Tati and all of those guys, he said that the French advertising slogan that says that, when you love life, you go to the cinema, is absolutely the opposite of reality. Because in reality, when you hate life, you go to the cinema. Okay, and this is when you don't like life, when life irritates you. This is the signature of the Pisces moon. We are not happy with what's in front of us. Okay, we are not happy with the nitty-gritty. We are not happy with the mundane in a way. Okay, and we tend to look at fantasy. We tend to look at what's false sometimes. That's why Pisces can be deluded. Okay, this very, very characteristic, this fantasy element in the energy signature of Pisces. And they have a very dry and odd sense of humor. If you're a Pisces moon, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So this is oftentimes not understood and accepted by others. Okay, they can think you're a weirdo. Okay, so willing suspension of disbelief. If you're a screenwriter, you've heard of this term. It was basically coined by Sid Field, the American screenwriter who wrote very many fantastic films. And he's a sort of a screenwriting guru with a book that's a bestseller on, how to screenwrite. So he comes up with this willing suspension of disbelief. And I think this comes easiest to Pisces, to suspend your disbelief so you can enter a creative space of a pseudo space that doesn't really exist, but it does exist. To me, the films I watch exist. They come alive. I interact with those characters, sometimes in my dreams, sometimes in my lucid dreaming state. Okay, so this willing suspension of disbelief is a Piscean key signature. Okay, which is why we are so good with celluloid, which is why we are so such engaged participants to the cinematic experience. Okay, now Pisces is the end of the zodiac. So the Pisces people always see a bit of them in everyone they meet. So this makes them very empathic, and they're psychic sponges. They sponge off and soak all these energies and feelings and emotions of people. So they can really, if they get over their shyness, some of them can be very shy, they will be able to truly become good actors. Pisces Moon people are some of the best actors out there. Okay, now I want to talk about my personal experience with Tarkovsky and the Russian master Tarkovsky, one of the best filmmakers of all times. And I remember watching Mirror, Stalker, Andrei Rublev, so many, okay, and I would walk into the theater, all palpitated, blackness would come, and I would just close my eyes and open them, and that haunting cinematic song of existence that Tarkovsky sang would, you know, sort of seep into my consciousness. It was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful. It was like, to me, it was like haunting poetry. Yes, it was a cinematic experience, but it felt like poetry, moving poetry to me. Pisces people love poetry. Again, fantasy, okay? Think about Ingmar Bergman, the Swedish filmmaker, and he said that Tarkovsky moved around with such a naturalness in the room of dreams. And he does not explain everything. Okay, this is why this happened, this is why this happened. No. He leaves it to your imagination. So Bergman says he doesn't explain anything. And what should he explain? What is there to explain? Your imagination. Because you think about the reader-response theory. Okay, but the writer is actually the one who finds the reader is actually the one who finds meaning in the text. The watcher is who finds meaning, the audience, the cinema goer. Okay, so this moving with such naturalness in the dreamscape is very Tarkovskian. Okay, now Pisces is like Tarkovsky without any explanation. There is no explanation for certain things. And Pisces knows that. Pisces knows there is so much out there that it will dwarf our human comprehension, right? And the mysterious magic of imagery is what comes to us through these rich cinematic experiences. If you move through the tapestry of cinematic heritage, you will come across these haunting, especially for Pisces Moon. They will like such, even Parajanov, he was crazy with the symbols and imagery, something again Pisces Moon people will really like and feel very connected to. This connection to the dream world is very important, and believe me, a spiritual crisis is the main theme of his work. And what is Pisces but about spiritual crisis, okay? Exactly like Pisces Moon, especially the Pisces Moon, not Pisces Sun in a bad position, not even a Pisces Ascendant. This is for the Pisces Moon people. In his film, the Stalker, there is an outlaw that leads an expedition, okay, to find a room that fulfills one's innermost desire. Okay, and he said it's almost like true artists are prophets. Pisces Moon, true artists and prophets as well. So this motif of going to find a room that will fulfill your heart's desire is almost like the Philosopher's Stone or Porosh Pathor in Bengali. Satyajit Ray made a film on that. It is a stone, if you touch it to anything, it becomes gold. Okay, so this dreamscape that we can go into without any explanation, without having to explain ourselves even. Sometimes Pisces moons can be so conflicted because they don't know how to explain themselves. Forget the experiences they have. Okay. Now, in his masterpiece, right, Tarkovsky's masterpiece, Mirror, there is a sequence where the mother levitates above a bed, okay, and water cascades indoors, okay, it's and mother is levitating. So this is such a sublime moment in cinematic history. If you're interested in cinema and you're a Pisces moon, watch this. You love it. Okay? And this use of rain, fire, supernatural imagery to create a universe teeming with the mysterious life force. This is very Pisces moon. We create these universes that are teeming with mysterious creatures, thought forms, tulpas. We can do it. We can manifest with our mind. Okay, in Sacrifice, for instance, his last film, Tarkovsky, here he speaks of, it's a very Piscean theme again, okay, a spiritual crisis, I told you. It is about how much will one sacrifice to save their own family, to survive, to save their own family. So the protagonist, who's Alexander, he's an atheist, right? But there is a nuclear war that is impending, that is like a doom on their heads, okay? So he breaks down to such a degree that he makes a deal with God, that if God saves his family and him, then he is going to burn down his house and never meet his family again. There's some kind of an abstract deal that he strikes, okay, with God. But he's an atheist. Okay, it's not some kind of, it's not the American understanding of, making a deal with the devil, of course. It's a very deep psychological meaning to this. Sometimes you are ready to sacrifice everything so we survive, right? This nuclear disaster, it scares him. And today, as I make this video, there are threats that there could be a World War III with nuclear detonation. So it's so much more valid, this video. If you watched till this moment, then you know what I mean. Okay, it's so valid. And if God saves him from the nuclear disaster, he's going to burn his house down. Do we understand this negotiation? No, we don't. Again, Pisces moon, we do not understand this deal. Okay. And he also promises to be mute. Penance, a spiritual penance that is very Piscean again in motive. He says there is no death. There is fear of death, and it's a terrible feeling. If only we could stop fearing death. Okay. So Pisces understands fear, right? And it's actually one of the signs of death, according to esoteric astrology. The 3 signs of death: Pisces, Aries, Scorpio, Pisces. And on these 3 signs, you must die to be born anew. And Pisces can also be attacked by this irrational fear that Alexander felt with the impending nuclear holocaust. Okay, he was scared, and he was so scared that he was ready to make any deal with a supernatural force he did not believe in before this. So his whole reality, his whole perspective turns upside down, right? Now, this is the deluded and the deranged personal world, okay? Is it real, we ask? What is real? Is your world real? Are you real? Am I real? We don't know that. Maybe a bits of information in a computer. Okay. Maybe our brains in a vat. So, Pisces knows what appears as real may not be real. Okay, and There are 3 vibrations that I get from sacrifice, which is waiting, silence, and heaviness. And believe me, as a Pisces moon, I understand all these 3. So that was a bit about my exploration, my ramblings and celluloid and the Pisces moon. If you like what you hear, thumbs up, really helps me to keep doing what I do. Subscribe, like, comment, and leave me a comment. I love to interact with you. Visit my website and book a reading. Thank you. Bye.